Good day. Welcome to Sunday Weekly Forecast. Looking at the week starting from the 17th. Let's do the weekly forecast and the possibilities of trades that we are holding. While doing it and while watching this, do not forget to like and subscribe. What's interesting now, it's looking at the dollar. We had a busy week last week, but let's get into it. Let's not waste a lot of time. Let's get into it. Looking at last week, I spoke about USDJPY. I do have a short trade on USDJPY. I think I do have a trade on USDJPY. I do have a trade on CHFJPY that I entered on Friday towards market close. But yeah, let's look at the fundamentals before we go further and look at where we're going because we've been having interesting data coming through this coming week. So, looking at the economic data, last week we had CPI. We had CPI. We see now that in the US, inflation is starting to be a problem because now we're starting to see this uptrend in the economic data coming through. We just went to 2.4. Now we're starting to have high inflation. For which when you see something like this, you might think the dollar would be bullish. However, the US economy is starting to be a problem. The employment data coming through NFP with a bit of a miss. However, it's very important to state that, however, even though we see a bit of a miss on the NFP, they reversed last month numbers to 307, which means last month we could have seen employment data above 300,000, which that gave us a very strong hot data for NFP coming last week. But anyway, with NFP, seeing the numbers of NFP unemployment rate going lower, that tells you that the American jobs data is doing well. With the job data doing well, you'll expect the economy to be doing, expect fundamentals to be a bit bullish. However, we're not seeing that because we have mixed reactions. Now we saw retail sales coming in last week, a very strong miss at minus 0.9, which means we got a minus 0.9 in retail sales. So which that says now, okay, the US economy, there is a possibility of slowing down when you look at the consumer sentiments in terms of retail sales. Now the US economy shows signs of slowing down, but now we see inflation increasing as well. So that gives us a possibility of not getting rate cuts coming in this first quarter. We may not get rate cuts, and that putting the dollar in a very shaky place where we might start to see the dollar retracing lower. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at when I'm looking at this fundamental. We're having mixed data. We're having mixed data for the fundamentals. So for which it's a very interesting scenario that you are seeing here. But however, let's go further and look at the fundamental spreadsheet that I have here. Big up to find bias. I'm using find bias to determine my fundamental spreadsheet and determine the fundamental bias. You're looking at seasonality. Normal USDCHF within the first quarter is bullish. Give us a +2 retail sentiment. They're bullish for USDCHF. PMI, it's also bullish. It's giving us a very quite good bullish. Central bank, the interest rates in the US is still very high, and we are likely not to get rate cuts, anytime this first quarter. So the Feds might delay to cut rates because if they cut rates early, we might start to see inflation still becoming a problem. With the US economy starting to slow down now, we might start to see a recession coming through. So, if you were to hear what Jerome said last week, he said he's not going to rush to decrease interest rates. He's not going to be put under pressure by who Trump. Who Trump is and what Trump is capable of. But anyway, On the bullish side, we have used DCHF, AUDNZD, AUDCHF, CAT CHF. Those are the bullish readings that I'm getting, and that will be looking at that are possibility of being bullish. When I entered USDJPY, do this. When I entered USDJPY, let me see if it's gonna show this. Here we go. When I entered USDJPY there, it was giving me a bearish reading, but now it's still neutral. So now I'm just gonna manage the trade because already I'm on a trade, so I'm just gonna manage the trade. On the bearish side, the yen is getting strength, and we there's possibilities of the Japanese central bank to start increasing interest rates. We see anything against the Euro USD, it's also very bearish because we're likely also to get rate cuts in the euro. NZUSD is also giving us a bearish reading. So on the bearish side, we have a lot of things that we can look at on the bearish side, but on the bullish side, we have very few things that we can look at for which I do not like. But anyway, let's go to the charts and look at what you're looking at the charts and the possibilities of what trade we're looking at. So as I said, CHFJPY, I've entered long. And one thing I love about, I mean, I've entered shorts. And one thing I love about this short, it's even the swaps are not expensive because the relationship, the CHF and JPY, the interest rates are not far apart. It's not as expensive holding these trades longer compared to the USDJPY. So I have shorts here. I might consider I might consider adding a trade again here if we see a strong break below this low. So if we see a strong break below this current low, where we see a very aggressive break and a retest, I might look to enter more positions because I'm very strongly bullish on CHFJPY given the fundamentals of the two countries and given that the Japanese will start to increase interest rates, and we know if the interest rates increases, there is more appetite for that particular currency. So that's CHF for us, and that's the bearish side. GJ, okay, anyway, let me speak about USDJPY. I'm on USDJPY, but now I'm just going to start managing the trade. And if you were to go back and look at the spreadsheet that I shared now with find buyers, you will see that USDJPY now is neutral. So I don't see a possibility of me entering more trades. I wanted to see maybe another retracement to retrace back to enter more trades and continue. But given now that it's starting to give me a neutral rating, so I rather move more into rely more on CHFJPY because it's still giving me a very strong bearish reading. So I'm more comfortable trading that shorts. Okay. Going ahead, GJ, we saw GJ that is giving us a very strong bearish reading as well. So when we look at GJ, I'm more comfortable taking shots on GJ as well. But I think I'm gonna take CHF and CHF JPY and GPP JPY because in my portfolio I don't wanna only have JPY pairs because that's a bit risky for me. Uh, so here I'm seeing this fair value gap holding. I love that this fair value gap is holding, which means there's a strong resistance here. So what I want to see a strong break below this current low. We retest and continue to go short. So I am more bearish on GJ. And if we were to look at the fundamental spreadsheet, if we were to look at here, for GJ, it's giving us a bearish reading, a minus 5.5, which is giving us a bearish reading. However, let's also look at EURJPY because EURJPY, or you can see it's behind my thing. Anyway, EURJPY is giving us a very strong, let me do this just to show you. EURJPY is giving us a very strong bearish reading there. So that would be interesting if we were to look at. I don't I love GJ. Technically, I love GJ. It's more clean. So, but let's look at uh, EURJPY. But EURJPY, we saw a break below this current low. We are retesting this. We have self-liquidity above this current high. So also, technically, it's a very, very, very strong uh, bearish sentiment that's coming through here. Similar thing as GJ. And given that the euro is likely to decrease interest rates, while the Japanese yen might increase interest rate. So you're getting something like this. If the euro here decrease interest rates and the yen increase interest rates, what does that mean? It means we will be looking into what? Buying the yen. So we meaning that the yen might start being bullish. So we're gonna buy the yen and short the European pound. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, and short the euro. I don't know if that makes sense. So this is what we are likely to see. Uh, Now the Japanese are likely to increase interest rate, while the euro is likely to decrease interest rates. That is why we're seeing this hold. So also here, if I start to see a strong break below this low here and a retest, I'm gonna look for something like this. Just gonna use this as a break below. I'm gonna look for something like this. This will be the best trade that I'm looking for. But I want to see a 4-hour candle closes below this current range here, meaning it will be an invasion of this 4-hour fit. Ooh, look at that. I'm showing something that is not even on the charts. Anyway, let me refresh. I said Euro JPY is giving us a -9 compared to the GBP JPY. And the reason being, let me refresh this because so I said the Japanese central bank is likely to increase interest rates while the euro is likely to decrease interest rates. So when this happens, so as traders is telling us that the currency that it's more likely to hold and is having more interest, it's the yen, because now they're increasing interest rate and the euro is decreasing interest rates. So the yen is coming in strong for being bullish. So we will be looking into buying the yen and closing the euro. And that's what I was talking about while I was showing the fundamental spreadsheet on the other side. Anyway, sorry about that. So what I was saying here, I was trying to explain that we see the 4-hour it's holding strong. So I want to see that big. We want to see this 4-hour invasion here. If it closes below there, and I'm gonna look for something like that. Anyway, now I'm gonna look for something like this on the EURJPY, and I'm gonna take the EURJPY given the fundamentals because the GPB we are highly unlikely to we're gonna get uh, rate cuts anytime soon compared to the euro. But anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let me just quickly show you what I'm talking about. So when you see central banks, let's go to central banks. I hope my network is not as bad. When you go to central banks, look at where the look at where last move the Feds didn't cut interest rates. However, the euro cut interest rates to 2.9% by 25 basis points. So what I was talking about, if we were to look at the Fed and the GBP is still having their interest rates at 4.5%, while the euro it's having their interest rates at 2.9%, for which they're still likely to decrease interest rates, while the BOJ the last time they hiked by 25 basis points, and they're still likely to hike by 25 basis points again. So we might have this at 0.75% interest rate. So that is why I am saying we are more interested in buying the yen over the euro. Hence, I'm bearish on the euro. So once we see that closing below there, I'm gonna enter euro shorts. I don't know if I make sense, but anyway, moving along. before I start ranting about the interest rates. Um, the last thing that I wanted to, not the last thing per se, but another thing that I wanted to speak about before I go is USDCHF. It's giving us a bullish reading. We're still within this range. So we were ranging here. We saw a low and taking out. So we could mark this as liquidity sweep here. We could mark that as liquidity sweep. And though it's still appetizing for me to take USDCHF, even though the current 2 weeks or last week, dollar has been getting a beating given their fundamentals. They're not as great. There's still confusion between the US economy is still a bit strong, while the jobs data is as good, but CPI is becoming a problem. Where CPI is increasing, the economy is a bit stable as well. So it's a bit of a problem there. And the retailers are starting to say, but the economy is starting to do bad. GDP, there was a miss on GDP, which means now the economy is starting to do bad. On the other side, we see inflation becoming a problem. We just stagnant. We're just gonna see what's gonna happen. Anyway, so looking at this, if this holds, and if this support holds and we start to see coming this week the USD break above and retest there, I'm going to look to go long. I'm going to look to go long above this high here. I think that's the only dollar pair that I'm interested in buying. The rest, I'm skeptical about buying. I don't like their technicals. I don't like the fundamentals. One prime example of a way bad fundamentals, it's the USD CAD. Trump throws 25% tariffs on Canada, and I think now they said they were going to pause it. Now Canada throws back. So with the tariff story between Canada and USA, now Canada's gained strength. We saw a break below. We could retest and continue going longer. But I do not like this thing. Yes, we broke below the support. We are likely to get we are likely to get a retest there and go short, but I do not like it. The fundamentals are a bit confusing for me, so I rather stay out. But anyway, so let's look at, we're speaking about the GDPs and the economy doing well. Let's look at indices. So on the indices story, last week I did specify that I want a break and a retest, and if this happens, I'm likely to continue buying indices. There's a lot is happening with the US and Trump's tariffs. I'm still as bullish to the indices. I believe the economy will still recover and we're still gonna create new all-time highs for Nasdaq. Okay. Also, but this includes all the indices. We want to see a break above and hold above it, and we continue to the upside. I'm not gonna be bearish as yet. So one frustrating trade that I have is Bitcoin. I've been holding this trade. Now I've moved my stop loss just to be tight. I've been saying this. I'm anticipating a 90,000 retest. I'm anticipating either a 90,000 and we push up, or an 85,000 before we push up. Hence I'm short. But given the consolidation here, uh, I'm gonna move my stop loss quite tight for in case, just to cover the swaps. Gold. I think this is one of the things that I love about gold. So gold, I'm looking at 50% retracement, close to 50% retracement of the Fibonacci at the support to continue going long. I'm still as bullish for gold. Last week I took silver. Silver was interesting. Silver did us bad. Anyway, I took silver last week. We went about 2% up. I'm gonna show you this. We were about, in fact, it was not even 2%. It was 3.8% up. It lost all that move that it gained it within one day. However, myself on the other side, immediately I saw this fair value gap being created. I marked the fair value gap. I moved my stop loss to profit because though the move was very aggressive to the upside, I didn't think uh, silver within the same day to lose all the gains and come back to the entry point. So right now my stop loss was taken out here, took a bit of profit on silver. So now I'm just gonna be sitting out on silver and just be watching it closely to see if we're gonna start to get something like this and then continue long. I'm still as bullish as well. My favorite, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. This is the favorite one, guys. I've been holding this for from the 27th of Jan. Look at that. We added a position here. So we have two positions running. I was looking into adding a position here. I'm still anticipating a new low to be created to hold this support at that daily fair value gap here. If you hold that and push to the upside, I am going to add a position there. But I'm in good profit. Two positions, all of them in profit. So this has been the greatest trade that I have lately. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange. I love it. Yeah, this was one of the good trades that I took lately. And I'm still anticipating still longs on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, more especially the top 40. So this is what I have, guys, for you for the week ahead. Do not forget, guys, for the fundamental spreadsheet, do not forget to check out find buyers. However, I just I also wanted to talk about the CO2 data. The CO2 data has been interesting for me. Just 2 seconds of ranting about the CO2 data. Yeah. So the CO2 data, I'm just gonna move this here. Here we go. So the CO2 data, this is the British pound. We see they've added a lot of long contracts on the British pound. That is why I do not want to take the pound over the euro because they've added a lot of long contracts on the British pound, but closed a lot of short contracts. So we see big banks and other non-commercial market movers starting to go long on the British pound. Why do I want to go against them? I have no reason. Therefore, I do not want to take GJ short because definitely because of this. However, with this, quickly go back, look at the euro index. Look at the euro on the other side. So the euro, they added a lot of long contracts. Yes, they did add, they didn't close any, but they added 3,000 long contracts. Look at the shorts. 8,000 long contracts. If you do the maths, it will be left with about 4,000 short contracts. So generally, when you look at the euro, they are more bearish on the euro because they're adding a lot of short contracts. They're not even closing, adding a lot of long contracts, short contracts. I mean, they are bearish on the euro, but slightly bullish on the dollar going last week. So this was something that I picked up now, which was very interesting for me. Very interesting that I was like, perhaps it's safer to take EURJPY than GBP JPY given what the big banks are doing. Um, I just also wanted to check Nasdaq. What did they do last week with Nasdaq? Nasdaq, they closed a lot of long contracts. They added short contracts. They are still, I think, for me, last week they added a lot of long contracts. They are starting to be slightly bearish on the indices. However, this could be just adding a few short contracts where if you go to next week Friday, they might add, let's say for example, close the side and add long contracts. So this is unpredictable. If we're still on the range, then I wouldn't want to bother taking any position against it. So the only interesting thing that I loved here was between the GBP JPY and Euro JPY. Those are the things that was very, very, very interesting for me. And then the last one that I wanted to check, where is it? Um, Gold, yeah. I wanted to check gold and silver. Let's look at gold and just see what gold did they do with gold. Gold, they closed a lot of short contracts. And this is a lot, okay? I think let me state this. This is a CO2 data. See, COT data for gold closed 12,000 short long contracts, but added 5,000 short contracts. What does this mean? Let's go. What does this mean? Let's go, guys. So, what does this mean for gold, given that they closed a lot of long contracts and added a short contracts? Look at this. Look at this, okay? Look at this. Look at this retracement. And this is good because we might start to see gold coming back to the level that we said we want to go long at. We start to see gold retracing back again at the level that I said we want to look at it holding support there to go long. And comparing this to what the CO data is saying, it makes sense because look at this. Look at this move. This was Friday. Look at this move for last week. We gained and closed short again. How many points? How many percent down? 1.5%, almost 2%, almost 2% down on a Friday. And that is clearly reflected on the CO2 data. It's clearly reflected on the CO2 data because if we were to look at the COT data, oh God. If we were to look at the CO2 data, let me just quickly explain here. We closed 12,000 long contracts. What does that mean? We are offloading longs. We are offloading longs for the week, but we are adding short on the week. And then that retracement to the downside that we saw. This was very, very interesting for me. And I think this is starting to create the pullback that we're seeing on the market, where we're going to get the pullback to the 50% Fibonacci that I explained to go long. This I love. I don't want to lie. This I love. And when I noticed this as I was doing my analysis, I was like, now it makes sense why the COT data and fundamentals are saying gold is still bullish. However, we're going to close short contracts and come back maybe to this support here. We could reject it and continue to the 3,000 mark. Remember, my target for now for gold, I'm calling for the 3,000 mark. But you could see this coming back this low. There's high possibility where we see something like that before we get to the 3,000 mark. So for gold, either now in Feb or the first quarter by end of March, I'm anticipating gold to be priced at 3,000 per ounce. Per kilo of gold. 3,000 per ounce, that's my anticipation. So yeah, this was it, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. This was the weekly forecast. My name is Prayer. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and follow. And leave your comment section. Tell me what you think about uh, the fundamentals, the way I'm explaining my fundamentals, the way I look at the market based on fundamentals, and understanding the directions based on looking at the COT data and fundamentals. Tell me what you think. And thank you so much for joining me, guys. I truly, truly appreciate all of you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Good luck next week trading. Have a great day. Bye.